Hey, 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 how you doing? Welcome everybody to the Tarot Flow Show, where synchronicity is the star. And my name is Alison Pickering. And we're going to stop that music and come on back to this show. And synchronicity is the star of this show. I am your host, Alison Pickering, and I am so happy today, as I always am, to welcome my friend and colleague who is in Stockholm, Sweden, on the other side of the world from me in Los Angeles, California, and that is the student of all things spiritual, the Scandinavian savant. That is Kefri Skarabus. Welcome, Kefri, to the stage.
Thank you, Alison. Nice to be here as always.
And I'm so happy today to bring to our Tarot Flow Show stage the adorable Enlightened Peach from Georgia. She's a master of habit change. She's a hypnotist. She's a coach. She's a podcast host. I've even been on her wonderful podcast, which is called Today's Dreams, Tomorrow's Reality. She is the wonderful, the adorable Vickie Poole. Welcome, Vickie Poole, to the stage of the Tarot Flow Show. We're so glad you're here. Thank you. Thank you. How have you been?
Fantastic.
It has been a day for you, has it not? Tell us all your adventures lately.
Oh man, I've had a lot, but I was at a coffee. I decided I wanted a little bit of break in scenery, so my daughter and I went to a coffee shop. I was going to do my live in my group, and I've done it there many, many times, but something was amiss with their internet, and so I was having to jump through hoops to try to make things work. So then I knew I was going to be coming on here, so I dashed out and said, we're going to go home so I can get in front of the computer and have real internet.
Well, I thank you so much for the for coming on the show and for making the time for it. I'm so sorry to have been a source of stress for you, because we wanted
no stress,
and have a chance to do a retake on this wonderful reading. We had done one before, but in my technological silliness, I had erased it. And Vickie is so gracious. She was like, well, those things are meant to happen sometimes, and that maybe I'm meant to have another reading. And so that's why we're here today. Kefri, do you give any kind of symbolism to those things when they happen, or is it just my stupidity?
Yeah, no, I think you are right, Alison. I think you're right. We should do it again.
Well, I was always looking forward to doing it again. I just didn't want to erase the first recording, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, Vickie, you are no stranger to things esoteric. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that you find interesting in the world of spirituality. What turns you on, and what has been your path of delight in this way?
Well, I love recognizing synchronicities because they're all around us, you know, and so that's one of the things I talk about in my group, and just about everywhere, is how we can, like us, this having to do this again because it got deleted. It was like, to me, there must have been something that didn't get brought up in the last one, or maybe something changed that needed to be addressed. And so I always feel like everything has its purpose and a reason. And so to me, that's one of the things that I love the most, is recognizing that the energies of our body are constantly creating and changing the things around us. And so anything that's going on, there's a purpose for it.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I thank you for that. And let's jump in and see a bit of what we're going to be doing today. We've had a chance to very briefly meet you, and we're going to do a little fun picking of a focus card, and then we're going to have a reading, which I like to call For Your Consideration. And perhaps we did not have enough for your consideration last time, and we're going to align it better this time. I certainly hope so. And then we're going to do the full out reading For Your Consideration. And then anybody who wants to do more of this kind of thing, please do stop by AlisonPickering.com and get yourself on the mailing list and find out about our upcoming academy and our events and our travel and all that fun stuff. So right now I've got some cards here, which are some major arcana. These are the 22 major arcana, the full plus these two cards. And I'm going to ask you, Vickie, as I shuffle up, what is a number between 1 and 22 that we could use to pick our card today and analyze it. What's the number between 1 and 20?
The number that's coming up for me is 18.
18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Card number 18, the Lovers. Let's look at the Lovers card. And there it is. So what we're going to do right now is not so much the reading. We're just going to kind of be like accountants and start itemizing. Feel free to join in, Vicki, but I think that one of your great strengths is your holistic ability to kind of capture things. So at the end, you're going to kind of wind it up, and Kefri and I are going to itemize some things. Feel free to name any of the symbols that you see. But first off, we can see this angel up above who's draped in purple, and purple is right above us on the tree of life. And so that's a pathway for us to consider the red wings of Mars. And then this yellow of the sun is right above this big golden orange yellow, indicating the heart of hearts of the tree of life and all the blessing that this angel brings. But then the card is called the Lovers, and we can see the tree of life and the tree of good and evil. And we can see a mountain in the background. We can see clouds, and we can see a man looking at the woman and the woman looking at the angel. The idea here is the idea of choice. And what choices are you making? Are you driven by the physical? Are you driven by possession? Are you driven by virtue? What's driving your choices? So that's some of what's involved in the Lovers card. What else am I missing out on itemizing here, Kefri?
Thank you, Alison. Adam and Eve, we have the biblical character here. We have also the tree of knowledge, and we have the tree of life behind them. And we have that famous snake from the scriptures also. And we have also a burning bush, if you have some imagination there behind the man also. And we also have a very, we can say, concretely formed sun above everything. So that is also in here. And we have a cloud underneath also to show that the angel is above the clouds also. So there is a lot going on here. And also we have hermetically, we also have a chemical wedding because between masculine and feminine energies also, actually.
So lots of stuff in this card. And then, of course, there's the idea of the lovers, you know, having a boyfriend, having a girlfriend, having an affair, having a marriage. What else comes to mind, Vicki, when you see this card?
Well, I'm wondering, is there significance to the angel's hair looking like it's flames and everything? If that has some kind of significance, I have no idea. Yeah, and I guess you guys covered it pretty well.
We tend to go on.
The only thing in there that I see that wasn't even mentioned.
What kind of feeling does it get when you look at this card? Is it attractive to you? Do you?
Yeah, it feels comforting for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you so much. So basically that's looking at the depth of symbolism that's in a card, and that comes from our majors, the Fool who's journeying through the majors like a big soul journey. And we can see that Lovers card over here at the number 6. We also have the minors to take into account, and those are the Wands, the Cups, the Swords, and the Pentacles. A quick look at our wands here, like creative projects, ideas and endeavors. Emotions in the Cups, decisions and communication and realities of planning in the Swords, and then in the flesh, in the earth plane, in time here in the suit of the Pentacles. So as we move into the reading that we're going to be doing here with Vicki, let's take a look at how that's going to be structured. So Vicki, I don't know if you want to consider a particular thing or just see what pops up in the cards, but whatever that topic is going to be represented both by this issue topic in that top middle, and then towards the end of the reading, we'll pull a 7th card to kind of get some perspective, and those two will kind of complement each other. And then we're going to see a timeline on the bottom here. That timeline could be anchored in the now, or we could be looking at something that happened and it's still an influence in your life. And then there's some advice around it on the left top, some cautionary advice, best to be wary perhaps of taking that direction. And then over here, some more supportive advice would be a more growth and, best for all involved kind of supportive advice direction. And then later that perspective card. Any questions? Might you have any questions at this point?
No, to me, I just want to know if there's something in particular that I need to know.
That's always a good question to pose, because then we can see what needs to be looked at and talked about. And that's what we're going to do right now. So I'm going to hand off to Kefri for this shuffling and loading the reading process. Thank you.
Thank you, Alison. And Alison, there it is, the cards. Thank you. And Vicky, I am shuffling the deck, and you say stop where you want the stop to be.
Stop.
There. And how many times do you want to cut the cards if you want to cut the cards?
3.
3. 1 and 2 and 3. There we go. And we will look at the first card in the middle row first as the first card, and that is the subject. And that is the 5 of Cups. Then we will go in the lower row and we will look at the past card to the left there. And that is the 5 of Wands. Sorry. The 5 of Wands. And then we look at the middle card, which is the present. And that is the Devil card. And then we look at the future card. And that is the 6 of Pentacles. Then we look at the top row and we look at the left side. That is the cautionary card, what is not recommended. And it is the 4 of Cups. And then we look at the right side, what is recommended. And there we have the Star. And we wait with the 7th card a bit for now.
Okay, so some difficult images in this reading, but you're no stranger to tarot. So this is but what we can see with 4, 5, and 6, and we've got a couple of 5s, and 5 is a kind of almost in the middle of the process, kind of itchy vibe in the 5s. We have that in the what's going on now as well as in the past. So that's good that it's in the past. And boy, I was going for a business reading, but now I'm getting a different feeling on this. So it could kind of play out in both ways. And so I'm going to be pretty generic in it because I'm just going to let it flow the way it's flowing to me. And then obviously we're all 3 here and we can all talk about these cards together. Grief has been a big part. It's been a companion for you, shall I say. It's familiar. You are standing, but it's been such a weight on you. So it was with that black cloak of Saturn in that 5. Would you mind putting, Kefri, that 5 of Cups
Yeah.
up? Thank you. And each of the majors, by the way, Vicky has a Hebrew letter that goes with it. So I think that Kefri right now is into the decoding process to see what words we might come up with that Devil and Star in your reading. But looking at this card, we can see that this person is going through an emotionally difficult experience, and it's a learning experience in the emotional trajectory. If you think of it like 1 through 10, 5 is a difficult time because it's a recognition of loss. And it's also an opportunity to turn around and find the bridge back home, to reconquer your castle or to come back to yourself. So perhaps this has been a long period where you have been figuring out how to get through using the energies of force and the energies of love with that red and green. You know, there's that Mars and Venus are both on the ground there, and pulling in both of those energies as you have had to live through your process. And it's now an opportunity to turn around, but it's a difficult process to do because you become identified, and it's also about loyalty. And there's all kinds of attachment that happen both to the person who's been lost, to the life that was, to the dreams that were, all that kind of stuff. We identify with them so heavily. And so much of what it represents to turn around is to come out of that ego that has developed from, let's say, the identity as a widow, and which can be represented by that devil card. And also, but so let's jump down, Kefri, if you don't mind, to the present time, which is represented in that devil card, which is the concerns of work. So central to the timeline, that whatever we're looking at in the timeline has been the centrality of your responsibilities, and how heavy it has been to this Capricorn symbol. You know, astrology and Capricorn is the symbol of work and of success later in life, for example. And so now is the time for those black chains, that you have the opportunity to remove them from your neck. It's so interesting that we ended up with the Lover's card as our choice card, and look who's trapped with this devil card. Is that same pair, rather than being with the fiery haired angel above, who is Raziel, who is a book that we're studying. Raziel has a number of angelic presences. That angel is now instead Saturn, Capricorn, work, difficulty, obligation, contracts, mortgages, all those things, you know. And with sometimes, again, with this identity, we become so identified with what it is to survive in the world that we grow our little cloven hoofs and our horns and our tails. With women, it's fertility, so it's the responsibility for children that keeps us here. With men, it's like passion and lust that keeps us kind of very grounded. And those are gender generalizations, of course, but that's what's kind of represented in here, are some of the traps of the earth plane. And in addition to just the obligations that are represented from that half cube Capricorn, goatee, earth focused dude who's dominating right now. It's also sexual function submerged. So it's entirely possible that during this grief period, you have buried your sexual desires and your needs and all those kinds of things that are legitimate needs and are part of that Mars and Venus that was spilled in that Five of Cups, in light of all the responsibilities that you had. So you had to like put that on the back burner for yourself as you have lived through. But now people are in their adulthood. Now you are in your maturity. Now you are more independent of that identity and can, in fact, turn around in that five. Let's go back to that five, Kefri, if you don't mind, the Five of Cups. So now you are in a position to wear that black, you know, it's of you now, you know it well, and you are free to turn around and take it as part of you, but you don't have to live in it anymore. You can carry it with you to your future. And so let's look at that Five of Wands. So I'm sorry for taking this kind of out of a timely order, but I just wanted to kind of talk about that was your solution. It's not a bad thing to be in that devil. You had to figure out something. There was so much that you had to do. There was so many ideas you had. And so you cut hair, and you sold the house, and you became a hypnotist, and you did your spiritual stuff as well as you could on the side as you paid the bills and raised your kids or your child. And I can't remember, and I apologize, but it's all the things that you had to do, and you had to figure it out. And so in a state of emotional difficulty. And so hats off to you. You made it happen through that difficulty. You stayed standing. And that's not nothing. You know, that's not nothing. And so let's look at this future card, or this card which could represent the now. In fact, after you are deciding to kind of throw off the difficult burdens, or now that you're coming to a more financially potential place, you can see the karma. You can see, I don't like it because we have I think that Westerners, we have a real narrow idea of what karma is. It's like crime and punishment, or what goes around, that kind of thing. And I think it's deeper than that. But on the other hand, it is the idea of encountering what you have been, future ways along the road. And so if you have been giving, you will be given too. As you have struggled, you can help others with their struggle, as all of these things that are coming into a balance. And so I can see that coming into the future is going to be a balancing, both financially as well as in some lessening of the pressures for you in the time upcoming. And that's going to be a great relief. And then let's also recognize that it's okay for you to do okay in this and others to not do as well in this, just because I think we've seen this difference. Maybe it was before in your reading that we saw that the person on the left they're mending themselves. They're receiving the larger share in this. The other one is not receiving coin at the moment. The scales are above his head or her head. She hasn't yet mended her cloak, so anything you give her is just kind of going to fall out anyway. And so there's a certain amount of, showing yourself worthy to now receive this blessing or this balancing of the equation. And so that's what I see for you upcoming. In terms of advice against, I would say in terms of that 4, Kefri, do you mind showing that 4 of Cups?
Yeah.
Thank you. In the 4 of Cups, the advice at this point is don't be suspicious of it. Let it come in. Let it be a nice and pleasant surprise. The 3, now notice the 3 cups that this figure is concentrated on are similar to the 3 cups that central figure in the 5 of Cups is concentrating on. See how their gaze stays on the 3. So I think it's time to move up to a more financially stable state. And by up, I mean we're moving from like the 5 to the 4 to the 3 to 1 to that Ace of Cups, that very abundant, beautiful card. And then the 2 is representative of kind of lovers. If you know your 2, would you mind putting up? Let's take that sequence back a little bit. Kefri, would you mind showing the 3 of Cups? So if you were going to not stay in the 4, but work yourself up the tree, you could be more celebratory with those 3 cups. You could pick them up, or you could do other things with those cups, and you could work together with people and collaborate. And then let's look at the 2.
Yeah.
In the 2 of Cups, as you progress further, there's that Lover's card represented in nice friendships, nice partnerships, nice eye-to-eye companionship, healthy relationships. That could be on the horizon as well. And then the Ace of Cups is then that beautiful culmination if we're looking at going up the tree, which is that card. And that's a very fond card for me. That's my painting that I have back behind there, is that Ace of Cups, and all the beautiful things that are represented in here, and as well as those 5. We have 2 5s in your reading. Now we have 5 streams of water coming out of this beautiful cup, and the blessing of the Holy Spirit in that descending dove coming into the cup. And so there's wonderful things that are available to you as you reach out to grasp that 4th cup and welcome it to you. And so welcome the possibilities of this new financial thing. And let's look at the star card, please, Kefri, and bring your now look at the 5 rivulets that we saw, the 5 rivulets coming out of that Ace of Cups here. The star card has those 5 rivulets in the pouring of the water. And so the recommendation is for you to recognize the constant stream available to you of emotional support and of holy support for you and of spiritual support for you to get out of this difficult responsibility / obligation / burden that has been your financial life, and to allow some blessing to come in for it to get balanced, for it to get raised, for it to get an infusion of beautiful energy like this star card represents. So that's what I'm saying, is open yourself up energy-wise, Vicki, as you mentioned before, as we are in our energies, that's what will manifest in our external life, in the world around us. And so the body language of that 4, let's look at that 4 again, please, Kefri. So the physical body language of this person can perhaps be eased up. And perhaps so instead of sitting with crossed legs, perhaps it's a kneel. I had a huge moment for when I actually kneeled in prayer. I don't do that very often, and I did it once before I found this house, to be honest with you, which was found very magically. So I should do it more often. But the idea of changing posture. So rather than the crossed arms of protection of the solar plexus, maybe put your hands in front of your heart and solar plexus, as does have this 6. Let's look at that 6 guy again, please, Kefri. And his hands are open. They're in a position to receive. He's looking up. And so all of those body postures for you are representing opening. So as you in your mind, and this is something that you can do, you have the mental power to do this as you move into this thing that we're doing together over the next period of time. Also, I think it will behoove us all to open our minds to the possibilities of the blessing that this thing can be, and to allow it to show itself to us and for us to share it with others. And so that's a very kind of narrow interpretation, because I know something that you're involved in and I'm involved in it too. As far as a broader interpretation, this is really about allowing many solutions to come to you, allowing the lovers and that angel to feed you and pay you and supply you with your needs without deciding against it with that kind of body language of emotional resentment or all of the why me kinds of things that come from that 5. So that's what I have to say. So from the 5 to the 4 to the 3. So from the 5 of sorrows with that 5 of cups, Kefri, we're going to show that, to the 4 of cups, which is recommended against, meaning that you need to open up, open up, open up. Let's go to the 3. I'm bringing in an extra card, but just because that has so much more the flavor of what the star can bring to you. So open up and allow this emotional, it's like going back to a childhood. So there might have been grief in your childhood, like maybe even when you were 5 or something. I don't know if you lost a parent or if you had loss early on. I did have loss early on, divorces and things like that. And it does make you protective of yourself. And so it's possible that it might be something early on to forgive. If not forget, perhaps it's already forgotten. Maybe there just needs to be a big forgiveness thing. I'm going on and on, but there's in that Sophia service. Okay, so this is the connection. When I was on my knees before I found this house asking for help, what am I doing with my life? I did this kind of a mass to the Queen, to the Holy Sophia. I had the booklet with me. There's a litany in this mass that goes, and it's just like Stacy's concentric circles, or like any of the concentric circle little diagrams. And it's about, may love go forth. To the ones I love, may love go forth. To my friends and acquaintances, may love go forth. To the people who've done me wrong, may love go forth. And I'm skipping a few steps, but the idea is out to, even to my enemies, may love go forth. To all those who have, and so it's this process of loosening up and forgiveness and sending out of love that can be super powerful. I encourage you to do that in the process that we're going through so that you can welcome in that love back, represented in the physical plane. And so that's what I see with that star and that 6 of cups upcoming. Kefri, thank you for your patience with me. Vickie,
No
thank
problem.
you for your patience. I don't know if you want to make some comment now. I think that Kefri's been holding back. But thank goodness we're recording it, and I promise I will keep this recording and send it to you immediately.
All right, spill, Kefri.
Thank you, Vicky. Alison has said a lot already, and I think I will take it a little bit deeper, but similar actually. But the 5 of cups up there, that is the process you have been gone through here actually, and there is actually, if you look at this card with the help of the Tree of Life, and I will not explain that for the moment, but it's going from the green energy center in the Tree of Life up to the red energy center in the Tree of Life. And we can see that at the bottom here with the fallen cups, actually. And that is actually involving two other cards, actually, and it's involving the death card and it is involving the justice card. So you have gone through a lot of things connected to death and a lot of things connected to justice because of those deaths, actually, and that has made you sorrow, actually, and look at life in a darker color scheme, we can say. And here is the solution to turn around to look and see what is behind your back, actually. And Alison has already been into it. You will discover this bridge over to this castle or this house or what it is on the other side. So you will discover the way back to yourself, actually. That process is not an easy process, actually, because it's a process that is full of hamperings, actually, and that is something that is the lesson in this, actually. And Alison has already been into this. There is a lot of the planet Saturn in this card with the black cloth and everything on that figure there. But you will be able to make that. And when you know that is the case also, I think it's also easier to see what is happening, actually. Looking at the Four of Cups, I read it basically the same as Alison do. It's about don't reject things that is given to you now. Don't reject things that is presented to you, and don't look at them with critical eyes, actually. Welcome them and see what you can do with them, actually, because there will be a good result if you do that. And there is also something here that if you place that a fourth cup here under the other leg, the free leg of this person, he will be much more stable on the sitting position, actually, because he will lean on that leg also. Now it's like he is falling over, actually, because he is missing support on that leg, actually. So that is a way of looking at it also. And I think that by not rejecting, you will be surprised how stable and balanced you will be over time, actually. And in the past, you have been trying to build something, actually, something that could be placed in this reality, in this world, and it is something that is spiritual, it is something that is esoterical, it is something that will give something to the world as the world is today, actually. But the thing is that hasn't been easy either, because there has been a lot of different minds involved in this, and perhaps your own mind has also been there with hesitations. Is it the right thing to do, or is it the time to do it, or will I manage to do it, and so on. And that is a process that had taken you into the devil card, actually. And this card is I think it has to do with that you have been able to accept that you must survive at the same time in this process, actually. And you must use your abilities in other ways that you would like to use them fully, because you will also look at it and see that it must earn something back to you for survival things also. And that is actually the right thing to do, but it's a difficult thing to do when you are a giving person. And that is a process that you are going presently through. How can I present this as a help to the world, and at the same time I can get paid for it? And that those who use my services doesn't think I am using them, so to speak. So that is an interesting thing here. And this card is also Saturn, of course, with all the black and everything. So Saturn is very in this reading, actually. But then we have this wonderful card here as a recommendation card, and I call this the magic of the universe, actually, because this is the magic that you will be given if you accept the situation you are in, actually, because this is the change, actually. And this is coming from both reality and your unconscious, your spiritual contacts, and so on. So it comes from every source, actually. So it says to you to be open, to accept what's coming in, and that is connected to the Four of Cups there also. And also this card, the Hebrew letter for this has also a symbol, and that is a connection to mysticism and religion, Christianity and other religions, and I think an esoterical, hermetic, and so on and so on. And I think that that is a sort of a signal to you. Be open and explore different disciplines and see what's in it, and if you can use it, if you can do something with it, and you don't have to share it with the world yet, but you can look at it, into it for yourself, and see what is in there and how you can use it. You can use it as an introspection, you can use it as a meditation, and that is in here, actually. Explore, I would say, is in this card. And in the future card here, of course, here is the sharing action that you will give to the world, actually, that you like and what you want to do, give back to the world from what you have been building, actually. And that will be a possibility here, actually. And this is also the card kabbalistically that is up in the beauty spot, the balancing spot, and so on. So all this will lead to a balance in the end, even if it can be a bit tricky and a bit dark from time to time, these energies, because Saturn is not always fun to deal with, actually. But being able to deal with him, her, the energies of Saturn is very rewarding, actually, because the reward is it's big and it is unexpected, actually. So that is also why I have been saying here that don't reject anything that comes in, actually. And by that we will also be taking the 7th card now. And the 7th card is the 10 of Pentacles, actually. This is beautiful. There we are.
Well, Miss Vickie, time to be optimistic.
All right. I always like to be optimistic.
Well, the 10, I mean, the 10 is the over fulfillment. The 9 of Pentacles, the 9 is the fulfillment of a suit, and the 10 is the cycling again to the total fulfillment, which is it's the 10x. It's the order of magnitude. It's the completion, and so you can see the configuration of the coins here, and the foreground is in the shape of the tree of life. You can see that you've got multi-generations there. You can see the anchoring in terms of real estate. The animals are now doubled or even tripled. There's all kinds of cool stuff going on in this card, but mostly what it's representing is a fulfillment in the earthly realm of the abundance of possibility that exists in this kind of trajectory, with the welcome, with the wisdom, with the stewardship, and I think also with the generosity of spirit that you bring. That intention can make it possible for you to kind of start flowing that kind of money. And this is also representing generational wealth. Maybe there's really something about legacy or about property or something that you want to anchor and feel secure in, something along those lines that could be indicated also by this card. But as an overall umbrella for the reading, the idea of this being above you, upon you, shall we say. This card is upon you right now. And what we're looking at is a snapshot of how it has been to get here and some recommendations of your attitude toward it. So do turn to welcome this. Do bid farewell to all you have been through, because you are and were that woman, and yet now you are becoming another version of that. It's a bit of shedding of skins happening here, and the devil is the illusion that you are trapped. And this star and 6 and 10 all indicate that you have a solid head on your shoulders and feet in the ground, and you have balancing of the material realm that's upcoming, and you should utilize all of your powers to open yourself to the beautiful being. You are the star, by the way. This is the thread in you. Would you mind putting that star up, Kepri?
Yeah.
I just want to say that you know the tarot, and the Fool is us. We are the star as well. And so this is an aspect of your being. And so what you need is to tap into your being. And so you're very well placed with your ability to tap into the subconscious, to tap into also, how would I say this? Perhaps like you, so I'm going to share something of myself. Perhaps like you, I have had the experience of having to release something very dear to me in my intellect and in my experiences and in my ego trips. Laughter is super helpful. And just saying, okay, I give up, or something along those lines, is very helpful when in a very meditative state. Like the odds are that I'm wrong and everything else is right. I mean, and what I mean the odds are that my doubt is just my fear. And even I have to acknowledge, even that little ego trip has to acknowledge the probabilities that there's a whole lot more going on, and I am opening myself to it. I open myself to it and do some tapping, do some whatever, all the modalities, right? To find, and then that's also kind of a stripping off of layers, which is finding your naked self, which is your true self coming through and showing in this thing. Because rather than selling, let's think of it as sharing with people the self-growth process that you yourself have been undergoing. And we're sharing it, we're channeling it to people, along with our own thing, with our own little sauce. That's Stacy's interesting little project that we're involved in. I think that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. And why not? And why not? That's a good one.
Yeah.
And why not? And then if anything comes up, why not? Then that, unpack all that kind of stuff and try and, shatter and do whatever you can, blow that little dandelion away, or whatever images work to dispel those weird doubts and things. You have better techniques than I would suggest, So all of the above. You have the tools. You are the woman. This is you. Tap into yourself, and then also accept and welcome and pray to all of your wonderful angels and Jesus and whoever helps you. All of your helpers. And they are you. Your thread. It's like how to unknot the thread. It's like holding remember the old phone cord, and you'd have to hold up the phone. Oh, hey, that's my gratitude alarm. Gratitude, everybody, gratitude. So think of the old phone card, and we're just got to untwist all of our twisted thinking so that we can get a better channel up to ourselves and get the better message going to ourselves and all that kind of stuff. And it kind of goes both ways, and then it settles for a minute, and then we can get a good relaxed flow. That's my metaphor for the day. Anyway, thank you for listening. So Kefri, the star in this, what does it mean? What does it mean for Vickie here?
The star, I think we should see it together with the devil, actually, and look at those secret words that are in this reading also. But the star, as I have been saying, has a connection to higher knowledge, like religion, like Christianity, like hermetic teachings, like esoteric teachings, disciplines, and so on. And the devil has a connection to the third eye, and I would say that taking in these energies of the star, the magic of the universe, as I call it, will open up your third eye, actually. And that is what is going to happen here, I think. And within that process also, you can put down all your things that you want to create into the mundane world. And that is the 10 of Pentacles there that Alison already have been pointing out. And looking at the word here, going from the star to the devil, so to speak, and I see that like the energy that comes from above, so to say, down to you from a higher source, and the word there is walk. So just walk on. Just go through everything that comes up, actually. Looking at it in the other direction, there is a group of words there. There is a word that is tree. There is a word that is wood. There is timber. There is log. There is lumber, and there is pole. And I connect that to something you should create, and maybe that is also connected to a house, who knows. So that is interesting.
Tree, wood, timber, log, and lumber. That's pretty specific. And then walk. Yeah. And so maybe walking through the forest too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you lust after log cabins or anything like that?
I love being out in nature. I haven't really lusted after log cabins, but I am going to one in another week.
Interesting. Where are you going?
I'm going with a friend of mine, and we rented a cabin in the Blue Ridge Mountains.
How wonderful. Well, that sounds very woodsy, and may you enjoy it and have wonderful walks. How interesting that walk and wood are right there in your reading, and the beautiful stars above. So you're going to have lots of opportunity for contemplation. Congratulations. So here's the crazy tarot flow for today, Ms. Vickie Poole. I am quite hopeful for you, and I think that you're a very beautiful human there.
Well, thank you.
If there's anything that you would want to share, we welcome it. I hope it resonates for you.
It does. It does.
You are welcome to just simmer and think about it and contemplate it and do whatever. And we can end the recording now and have it for you to contemplate and decide whether you want to stream and all that good stuff.
All right. Well, only thing I will say is that I think the only card that was there last time was the 5.
The 5 of Cups?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, there you go. So that's a lingering influence as it has made itself known today. Interesting. Yeah. So fascinating.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for remembering that. I'm sorry I didn't. Of course, Kefri could probably pull it up in his whole mind, but that's you can. Oh my gosh.
No, but I can pull it up in the computer, actually.
Oh, that's right.
I think it's left there.
I would be curious because that one I remember. Because we talked a little bit about that one, but I don't remember the others.
If we can find it, if it is still here, actually, because it.
Oh, because you did a big consolidating of the hard drives thing recently.
Yeah, I did, and we should see if it is here or not.
I'm going to share. This is always so calming, and I noticed it last time, but this time it's like as I'm getting all this information and everything, I start feeling myself drifting. And so it's almost like, you get into that hypnotic trance as you're doing all of this stuff. And so I feel myself kind of drifting into it. And then I have to kind of bring myself back out so I can listen.
Well, that's why we're recording it, because it's such a
Yeah.
fire hose and it's
No,
impossible.
it
for
has not
anybody-
been saved. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, look at that. It's so crazy. Well,
Yeah.
obviously it was meant to be now or whatever. We can apply
Yeah.
whatever meaning we want to it, but that's what happened.
That's right. Well, I will say the five of cups was there before.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see
think
it
so
appear
too.
again. We have a colleague or a co-student, fellow friend in our little tarot thing from COVID. And that's her favorite card because that was the pivot point in her life, was recognizing that card. And so it's always held a big place in her heart as the time when she made a spiritual turnaround. And so all of these things are possible at any given moment. Eileen Wilder wrote this book called Pivot, and it's all about metanoia, or that ability to, at any point, which is the word for repent. And so all of those are translations of the same kind of idea of at any given moment, you can turn around, you can repent sinners. It's just, don't look down, look up, and I had a weirdo experience recently. And the gist of it was the voice from above was very jolly and saying, oh, it doesn't matter. Just keep looking up, keep, aiming up. And so I don't want to take that for the entire gospel, but it felt like a good message and it got me very jolly too. So
Perfect. Sounds
Yeah.
perfect.
yeah.
Yeah.
So indeed, keep looking at the stars and know that those are you and we are they, and God is you and one and all of the above. And so welcome the opportunity to demonstrate his glory and abundance.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, both of you, for doing this
You're
again.
welcome.
I'm really excited to experience it the second time. And I will say that it was very lovely, very lovely. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for being here, Miss Vickie Poole. I appreciate you. I'm going to pull this off of the stage right now, and will have the recording. I thank you so much. Is there anything for anybody who might be watching now? Tell us a little bit about your business, about what you offer, if you would like to do that now, or would you like to do it after your birthday party?
I can do it now.
Let's do it. Let's put you on full screen right now. So this is,
Okay.
hold on. This is the fabulous Vickie Poole. I love and adore her personally and respect her so deeply professionally. Vickie, tell us more about what you do, please.
I help primarily women, but I do have some men that I help them to dispel limiting beliefs and start stepping into their power to communicate, to share with others, and to have a better understanding of what they offer to the world. And so I do have the birthday party thing tomorrow, and it is for helping people that maybe have been feeling anxious when they introduce themselves to someone, if they're at a network meeting or going on a first date or wherever it is, where you have somebody says, who are you? What do you do? And that people usually just kind of like, and so I help. This party is for us to have 2 minutes to actually practice saying who we are and what we do. And we're going to be communicating that with each other. And we're going to be acknowledging what people say and maybe offering some suggestions. But it's mostly giving us the opportunity to practice this in a safe place so that we feel so confident next time someone says, what do you do? That it just comes off your tongue and you just feel relaxed in the whole process.
What a brilliant thing. I'm so glad you're doing this. I could see this being a regular thing so that people can keep coming back to the party and keep polishing up their elevator pitches. And I see that as brilliant. Where can people find this party if they want to do that?
It is in the actual group, the Stand Up and Stand Out. So to get into the group, you go to VickiePoole.com, VICKIEPOOLE.com, and you'll be prompted to answer some questions. And you have to answer the questions to actually be admitted into the group as a member. And then in the events tab there, that's where all of that is. And so I have special guests all the time. And I am looking that this party tomorrow may become a monthly thing. We're going to see how this transpires and how people like it, because this is the first one. And so I'm excited to see how it goes. And then we'll know more after that.
Okay, I put stand up and stand out, I hope, on add the banner. Let's put this up here. Where did it go? Stand up and stand out. What else should we put up on our banner, Vickie, for you?
Well, the way to connect with me, I guess, well, they could find it under Stand Up and Stand Out, I believe, but VickiePoole.com is the way to actually just go straight to the group and ask to be a member. Yeah. That's it.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And so I look forward to going to the elevator pitch party, which is going to be so fun at the Stand Up and Stand Out group at VickiePoole.com. Vickie Poole, I thank you so much for being here. Any words of wisdom to share with your beautiful people?
Well, my words of wisdom is to get out of your own way. And like one of the things that you said in my reading is to accept the things that come. And so I think that could be something for all of us, because usually we tend to tell people not to do things for us because we're so busy doing things for others. And so it's a great reminder to allow the blessings to come for us as we bless the people who are giving.
Let it flow. Absolutely. And let it flow to us as well. So thank you so much, Vickie. It was a pleasure having you here. As we come back to our group of fond friends here on the Tarot Flow Show, I want to say thank you to you, Vickie, and thank you to Kefri Skarabus in Stockholm, Vickie in Atlanta. I'm in LA. Thank you, everybody, for being here. If you are still here, and we're going to say bye-bye now. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.